Finally, I was kind of stalling a little bit because I was just now going over the books for March.
Oh,
Because
I'm doing the same thing. Cool. So wait for me too.
I totally forgot.
I didn't even really go over. I just have
Yeah.
it up on my computer to
Yeah.
see whatever will look interesting
Right.
when we go over it.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I do because not too much from Marvel. I think DC might have a few things.
There's not much through any of the companies
From
from what I
anybody.
could see. Yeah. I did find a few more things, but I've probably got like 10 things through everybody that I found.
Because they're stalling. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, what May is the big Secret Wars and Convergence, so everything else. Yeah.
I will say this, Mike. I know you were wondering. I agree with your review because I had to see your review. That was the most lackluster ending to Spider-Verse I've ever read.
John and I were just talking about that beforehand, so we
Yeah.
should really say that for the show.
Yeah,
No,
we'll
I'm
say
gonna
it
just
for the
say
show.
I-
Wrapped up in big paper.
You know,
What you are about to hear is highly classified. What you are about to hear is highly classified.
and welcome back to the Zone. I'm Brant Fowler.
I'm John Wilson.
I'm Chris Ventura.
And I'm Mike Spider Slayer.
And welcome back to Zone 4 with episode 302. And Mike, it is a pleasure, man. This is your very first episode of Zone 4 ever, and you come on as a full cast member. How's it feel?
I'm totally excited. When I got the call to be a full-time member, I was totally excited. I almost didn't know what to do with myself. It's awesome. It's fantastic. I'm honored to be here, and it'll be this show will be fun with me on here. I can guarantee you that. It's going to be a good time, and so thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, our pleasure, and thank you for being a part. And just for our listeners that may not be familiar with you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Basically, just in a nutshell, I started getting back into comics again back in 2008, and I started writing comic book reviews on Comic Vine, and I felt that it wasn't enough audience participation in that. I wanted more people to just get involved with it. So I said, hey, why not come up with an original idea and do reviews on YouTube? Thinking that absolutely nobody was doing this. And so I go on YouTube and I find out that, yes, I wasn't the only nerd geek that wanted to show their face on YouTube and talk about comic books. But it was more than what I could imagine. It created this whole world. And I met a lot of friends through there, and Chris actually was one of the first people I met. And my channel is called Comic Book Corner 2.0, and it has a few thousand subscribers on there. And now I'm part of Comic Frontline as well. We took that whole journey there too, and it's just been a great ride, and I enjoy it. It makes the hobby so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and man, it's cool. I'm just kind of in awe to have you guys on here with us. The way that everything has just kind of come together from our previous channel to Comic Frontline, and now you guys are on Zone 4, and it's kind of surreal that way.
It's a mashup.
Yeah, it is a mashup. And it's funny because, Chris, you and I had talked about, like, when I was first on Dark Avenger Inc., we talked about doing this mashup podcast between Zone 4 and Dark Avenger Inc., and we were going to call
the Dark Zone.
The Dark Zone, yeah. And now we've basically done that on the main Zone 4 show, so that's kind of cool.
It's better, less titles.
That's true, yeah. Less shows for us to work on, too. That's
and less Zone for you, because, man, you have to escape that.
Yeah, I do. It's a lot of Zone. But, no, it's awesome having you guys, and Mike especially. I got to apologize because it's going to be a crazy ride for you, and you're going to regret it. But that's okay. No, we're going to have fun. But before we get too far into things, we should mention that we are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. You can find us on comicspodcasts.com. Each episode that we post of Zone 4. And there's a ton of other shows over there that you can check out that fills all your comic listening wants, desires, and needs. So check it out. All right. So
That set the bar pretty high, didn't it?
It did, yeah. But we're all right. I'll do this. I'll set it even higher. We're the best show on there. How about that?
Vote Zone 4, the best show.
There you go. I like that. It's got a nice ring to it. Just the best show.
And then vote hit points.
The best show you're currently listening to.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a very historic show. There's been many episodes that have had very classic moments on there. And I can honestly say that I, remember that 200th episode. not the most recent 300, but that 200th episode with the experimental Google Plus episode.
We don't talk about that much.
Yeah,
We don't talk about that
that's all right.
anymore.
Hey, should I have also said in my intro that my favorite writer ever was Rob Liefeld and my favorite artist ever was Rob Liefeld?
Oh man, you're gonna get so banned
Sergeant
from
Major
the show.
kill this man.
Let me guess, you hate bacon too, right?
Oh yes, bacon's my worst favorite dish ever.
Oh shoot! Yeah, and you must.
How did you let this Philistine in the
I'm
room?
telling you, you must
Yeah.
love Nicolas Cage movies and horse movies and all this stuff too.
Oh yeah, Nicolas Cage is my hero, man. Should have been Superman.
Now Chris is gonna kill you too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna ride.
Oh, you're starting this off with a bang, man.
There we go.
Chris is slowly dying over there.
He's already died. He's died a long time
already
ago.
died. I saw the script.
I've got to ask you a question, though, Mike, and I apologize for keeping going back to you, but you're new here, so I got to do it.
It's the roast part of the show.
No, I've got to ask you a question that I've wondered, and a lot of people have asked me about actually, and I've seen in comments and stuff before in the past. You are a Spider-Man fan, like a hardcore, like me. You love Spider-Man,
Right.
But your name is Spider Slayer.
Right. So you want to know where I came up with that name?
Yeah, because it's kind of ironic, or you know.
It is
Essentially
fun.
explained, yeah.
I do like Alistar Smythe. That's one, because I always thought his character was a different type of Spider-Man villain. I do like the character, and I love all the attempts that he makes in trying to kill Spider-Man, and he just can't do it, you know.
Yeah.
And when he winds up dying, he dies. His father dies. Everyone dies. But really, honestly, the way it came out to be was when I created my original YouTube channel. I was like, well, what am I going to name this myself, you know, just out of nowhere? And I'm like, oh, why don't I use my gamer tag from Xbox?
Ah.
And so my gamer tag from Xbox was Spider Slayer 101. So I just decided to do that. Again, when I started YouTube, it was originally just this casual thing that I was going to do.
Right.
And I didn't think anything of it, you know? So, and I didn't want to use my last name, you know, get these stalker people or whatever. So,
That's why we create pen names.
yeah, so that's where Spider Slayer came from. And it kind of worked. It stuck, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then people kind of make fun of it. They call me the Zombie Slayer, and they call me all these other things too. But yeah, that's how the name got started.
Cool.
Yeah, I remember when you came on YouTube. I was on YouTube. I think I found you right after my 100th episode, or maybe it was either right before or right after. And I remember episode 1 through 100. The community was a handful of people doing reviews, and then another handful of people doing spotlight videos. And it was so small, and nobody cared about it. And then all of a sudden, since the 100th episode, it just blew up after the movies took over, especially with the Marvel movies, and it was a crazy ride. But at least, you know, we stuck together through it, because a lot of people separated. The community was very tight knit. A lot of people were very tight knit in the community, and then when so many people came on, people left. Some people left for medical reasons. Some people left because it was becoming too much, too popular. There were too many critics out there criticizing videos. And then there were the few of us that actually stayed. So
Yeah, and it was a time, too, when the New 52 was just released. So you had a lot of people jumping on board, like, trying to do comic book reviews, like me.
Yeah.
You know?
Very
So,
And that's when we started Dark Avenger Inc. Actually, it was right after the New 52 started. I think it was around the 5th or 6th issues, or maybe the 10th. If I'm not
probably a little bit later than that.
really.
Yeah, because we had that other channel.
No, yeah, I'm talking about Dark Avenger Inc. when we started. I said
Oh,
Comic
okay,
Frontline,
yeah.
probably.
No,
Right,
I think
right.
it was already well underway because
Yeah,
it wasn't too. I mean, you guys weren't around too long before I joined in, right?
right.
No, we were only around. Let's see, with
Like a
Dark
couple
Avenger
months.
Inc. 3 years. We were on YouTube so far 3 years, including Dark Avenger Inc.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. John, I guess you and our
Yes.
egos are too big to do pen names.
I guess. I don't know. I think we missed an opportunity here.
Yeah, that's
Well,
No,
there's-
it's never too late. It's never too late.
Well, just from now on, I'm known as Brant Bacon Slayer. There we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Brant, the
I'll be
bacon
like-
lover.
I'll be like John Elevator Farter or something. I don't know.
Elevator farter.
No, for a long time I was just exclusively Gonzo Goose. I didn't put my name out there for the similar reasons, but that didn't last long.
yeah, I didn't.
Well,
use
yeah.
my name. When I started, I was just Dark Avenger
Mm.
for the first year and a half. I mean, everybody knew my first name, but I didn't even use my last name until my second or third year on YouTube.
Right. You gotta look at it this too. Like YouTube was still fairly new when you go back to like 2008 or whatnot.
Mhm.
Now, ever since then, YouTube has changed itself 100 times over. It's
Yeah.
changed its format and it's merged with Google.
Yeah,
And
don't remind me.
Yeah, and it's just been crazy. So now everyone and their mother is trying to, somehow make it big or become famous or whatever it is on there, whether it's just a one and done video or something else,
Right.
YouTube is the new type of media. TV is always number one, but YouTube definitely has grown to compete. Not compete as in to beat TV, but as a source for where people watch a lot of stuff
Oh,
that
yeah.
isn't like a TV series. So
Oh, sure.
a lot of people try to make it. I mean, you can't make it on TV without having a studio and a film crew and everything. But YouTube, all you need is a video camera and an account, and you can go to town. And if you get popular, whatever, you're set as far as YouTube, as far as advertisements and everything. If you're not, you can still do, and if you don't like that you're not, you leave. But YouTube's the best place. That's where a lot of people who make it to TV start nowadays.
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and a lot of people sit there and watch YouTube on their TV. So
Mhm.
I know I do.
Or vice
Yeah.
versa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's it's a monster. It's a giant. But you guys mentioned the Marvel movies, which is a nice segue into our one and only news topic for this episode of the show.
Yes.
So, and of course I'll insert the little segue little thing there if I remember,
Segue!
which I probably won't. So, there we did it anyway. But news broke this week, which had been rumored for a while, but nothing was confirmed and all this stuff. But it finally broke that Sony and Marvel have come to a deal, and we actually talked about this on Comic Frontline's live show. But this came out after the last episode was on 4, so I definitely wanted to cover it here too. But they've reached a deal to where they're going to have Spider-Man in a Marvel Studios movie, and they're going to have a hand in the other stuff Spider-Man's involved with too. So I mean it's huge for us as Marvel movie fans, and especially for you and me, Mike, as big Spider-Man fans.
I'm a fan of the franchise of the movie.
No, I know you are. I'm just saying, me and Mike, I'm doing the thing with my fingers to your eyes thing that people can't see because it's audio and not video. But yeah, so
I'm looking
we're
at
there.
your picture on the computer. How about that?
There we go. We're
Yeah.
there though. No, but
Do you two need to get a room or something?
all right. So John, since we talked about it, I'll ask you first. What do you think about all this news?
I think it's about time.
Yeah.
I think they've successfully managed to screw Spider-Man up in every way possible in the Sony films. So it's really about time for them to, bring it back home essentially. Now, in saying that, they're probably going to end up throwing him in the Avengers.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely they will.
Which could be problematic.
They haven't announced. I don't think officially they've announced which movie he's going to appear in, but there's a lot of talk saying it's going to be the Civil War, the Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, well, he'd have to because he's integral to the whole Civil War story.
Right.
And yeah, they'd have to put him in the Cap one, or if they're going to peel out another Iron Man film, to do with Civil War.
That would make a lot of sense.
I would think that it would be better to introduce Spider-Man in the Iron Man movie, because before Civil War, Pete went to work for Tony.
Right.
It would be a perfect segue, a perfect way to introduce, if they're going to introduce the Iron, like have him in the regular suit at first, and then introduce the Iron Spider costume maybe at the end of the movie. Have him show up from the middle of the movie or something on. That would be really cool. And have the Iron Spider suit.
That would be crazy seeing that in an Iron Spider suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then have him switch sides in the Captain America movie.
Yeah.
And then
or
finally,
sway. Or sway.
Or sway, at least, yeah.
Yeah.
And then have it all resolved in the Avengers
movie.
So.
Exactly.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously they can't do it on the scale that the comics did, because there's just not that many heroes in the cinematic universe. But
my concern is, when he finally got into Avengers fully, it was a very different team than what you have in the films now.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best things about him in the comics is that banter that he had with Luke Cage.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's that kind of two street level guys in this big, hanging out with all these big, powerful people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that with anyone on the current roster, with the possible exception of Hawkeye, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm also going to miss. He had really good banter with Miss Marvel, and with Jessica Drew as well.
Yeah, unless they drag, they might be dragging Carol Danvers into the Avengers anyway, since they've got her movie coming at some point. But
it's interesting obviously they had to change. Sony, speaking of Sony now, they had to change plans. They had to pull an audible since this deal came about. And
of course.
Yeah, the next Spider-Man movie's pushed all the way back to, what was it, 2018 or 2017? I can't remember.
I think it's 18.
I don't know.
I know it's 2017. I just found it.
That is a good thing, though.
Yeah, it is.
I know people liked the other ones, the last ones or whatever.
I did.
But I know you did. But I know there are a whole lot of people who thought it was a hot mess too, especially when they saved kind of the best potential fight for the end of the movie, and then they fade to black just as that fight begins.
Yeah. But, it is what it is, and I'm not going to say Amazing Spider-Man 2 was perfect or anything. I did like Andrew Garfield, and I was reading some article the other day, and, they were talking about how they did, of course, decide to go with somebody else, but they actually were giving him the option. They were talking to him about it and trying to figure out if it was going to work. But they finally realized that they just needed to pull away and do a clean break and start fresh for their version, so that it's not confusing. It's going to be confusing either way.
Yeah, but, it's going to be confusing regardless. Plus, I think without Emma Stone to play off of,
true,
Andrew Garfield's not going to be that good.
Yeah. Plus, they're de-aging him a little bit. They're putting him back in high school, and Andrew Garfield's 31 years old. So.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes sense.
He looked like a kid, but not that much of a kid.
Yeah, it does make sense. So.
But if they're high schooling him, then they're either playing fast and loose with the origin, and they're going to throw him into the Avengers early, or they're going to play fast and loose with the entire thing and make Civil War happen a long time before it actually did. So.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to assume that people know the origin, so they can do like a really quick version. I'm sure they'll still show it.
Yeah.
God, I hope not, though. Yeah. I really don't. Everyone and their mother knows Spider-Man's origin. And it's just like, and I remember in Amazing Spider-Man comics for a while, they threw your Spider-Man's origin in there like every issue,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the most annoying thing.
Right.
And I know we talked about this too. Like, we've had how many movies of Spider-Man in the past 14 years? We know the guy's origin already, you know. So
Yeah, no, I agree. It just if they're gonna do it within somebody else's movie though, they could really shorten it up where they just show the bite and the transformation and go on, and not spend like an hour, you know.
So you know how good that would work. That would be perfect as a an intro scene or something like that to the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Or it'll be a Nick Fury file.
Oh, that would be good too.
Yeah, here's this file on that Spider-Man kid. Oh, look, he was bitten by a spider. Now he has spider powers. Okay.
Yeah.
Move caught up.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Works.
Just move on from it. I mean, surely the movie-going audience hasn't forgotten since Amazing Spider-Man #1.
Yeah, right.
I didn't forget from the Spider-Man movie
well, of
yet.
course not. But we're comic fans too. So.
True.
It's like, can you imagine people going, "Who's this Spider-Man guy?"
Right.
I've never heard of this Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Why is there a dash there?
How does he climb the walls? And
Yeah.
how did he get these powers?
That's
It's like, seriously.
That's like, I mean, non-wrestling fans still know who Hulk Hogan is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that. You know who Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man are. I don't care who you are.
How did he create his own suit? Oh, wait.
Right.
Yeah. Hulk Hogan, that's the guy with the hairpiece, right?
It had to be more specific than that. Those wrestlers are getting old.
That's true. Oh man, but yeah, no, it's gonna be fun though to see Marvel Studios handle Spider-Man. That's just what I'm most looking forward to is this whole thing.
There have been a lot of polls on a lot of websites asking people if Marvel should try to have Fox do what Sony's doing with X-Men and Fantastic Four, and a lot of people are voting yes, and I'm guessing that's more because of the Fantastic Four movies that start coming out. I don't think it's as much for X-Men because X-Men's kind of on a slow incline finally, but man, that Fantastic Four movie, I'm gonna.
I'd say it's more than a slow incline or whatever, because a lot of people love Days of Future Past.
Yes.
And it was a really good movie. And First Class was pretty good too, in my opinion.
That's what started it.
Yeah,
that started the incline again.
Yeah, so I don't see Fox letting go of the reins with X-Men, but I could totally.
Would you want them to? Would you want them to if the opportunity was there? No, with everything, with their whole everything they own.
With Fantastic Four, definitely. I mean, it needs to be under Marvel's banner. They need to have their hand in it. I think we can all four agree on that completely. Because what's coming, we're just.
Yeah, they just need to take the name Fantastic Four off the movie.
Yeah,
that's coming up.
Right.
Honestly.
But X-Men, I don't know, because that would make things so convoluted in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. I don't know if I'm ready for that to be thrown in there too.
Too much.
Yeah, I think it's too much with all the history that they have, that Fox has created with that franchise.
Right. Yeah. I just watched Days of Futures Past just recently when I was sick last week, and that for me that was the best X-Men movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was really well done. Really well done.
I was sick this past week, and I actually got to finally watch. I know everybody's gonna gasp here. I actually got to see a movie that I've wanted to see for a while. I got to finish watching John Carter. That movie was spectacular.
I love that movie.
I love it. So I want to get the Blu-ray DVD of it to have it in my collection. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Why aren't we getting more of this?
Well, that's a whole other
because
movie.
Disney.
Yeah, we talked
Disney,
about that. Disney. Well, the rights have reverted back. There was a story. I think we talked about it on Zone 4, didn't we, John?
You did.
Yeah, I think so.
I remember you talking about it, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, the rights reverted back to the Edgar Rice Burroughs estate, and so now they're pursuing more movies with another studio because they weren't happy with the way Disney handled it either.
Nobody was.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, Disney, what a lot of people didn't even notice and honestly, I didn't notice until I saw it on Everything Wrong With, that they weren't even smart enough to pull From Mars off of the end credit.
Really?
If you go back and look at it, it says From Mars on the, it says John Carter From Mars on the end credit.
See,
wow.
The thing about that movie, it was an awesome movie, but the marketing was just terrible. And to call a movie based on a book called John Carter of Mars and to take the Mars off.
Exactly.
You don't know what you're going in to watch, and they really dropped the ball with promoting that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up sounding like one of those George Clooney movies where he's like the main character.
Right.
And it's just all about him, and, you don't really need to know anything else that's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, like Michael Clayton. It's like, okay, that's Michael Clayton. George Clooney is Michael Clayton.
Yeah.
John Carter, okay, is this another George Clooney movie? No, it's some guy running around beating up people with the sword.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know.
So confuse people.
They waited real late to do a trailer or anything, from what I remember, and I didn't know what it was. I just had seen the name and stuff until I think Ron mentioned it on an episode, and how he was excited for it, and then I was like,
You're gonna
that's
die
what
laughing.
Is.
That was the episode where I went, oh my god, John Carter, you mean of Mars?
Yeah.
And then it all clicked from that episode. Because I had been ignoring that title for so long, and I had read some from Dynamite, and it's like, oh, it's that John Carter. Because it didn't connect.
Right. Yeah, no, I think, didn't some people get fired over that too? Marketing?
Oh, I think a lot of people got canned over that.
They did.
Yeah.
Because they lost millions
Yeah.
on that movie.
I mean, the creator of Tarzan, they had his properties and blew it.
Yeah, and, they'll never, they've lost every other franchise they could possibly get because, John Carter and Tarzan aren't his only franchises now.
Right, of course.
I have no idea what else is, but,
but
I know
those are
he
the
has
most
more.
notable ones, yeah.
Right, those are the ones people know.
Yeah. So,
like John Carter, it's like naming it like a movie would be called Brant Fowler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like you have to say Brant Fowler, the lover of bacon.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like who would want to see that movie anyway?
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
No sweat, buddy. I love you.
Oh shoot. But yeah, no. So Disney definitely dropped the ball on that one, but they are not dropping the ball on the Marvel stuff, or hopefully they won't drop the ball on the Star Wars stuff. But
well, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's yet to be seen, especially with promising already 3 movies before the first one's done.
Yeah, but it's Star Wars. Do you really expect there not to be 3 movies?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's true. You're right. That's very true.
That's one argument. I can understand that with most movies, because Hollywood has been doing that a lot lately, where they've greenlit sequels before the movie even comes out. But with a franchise like Star Wars,
You gotta expect at least 3.
you gotta expect it. There's
Yeah,
no
you
surprise
can't
there.
you can't tell that story in one movie at all.
No. So I'm not.
And honestly, it comes with built-in. Even as bad as the prequels were, they still made tons of money.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It comes with that built-in audience.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I
And
know
it's
I
still
was.
a setup. It
Yeah.
still sets you up for A New Hope.
I know
Right.
I was there in the theater on opening weekend for.
I watched it.
Yeah, it's just Star
I
Wars fans.
died a little bit inside, but I.
Well, with Phantom Menace especially, yeah. But
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones is pretty good.
It was so different, man. When I went to go see that movie, I was like, "This is different.
Yeah, I
this is
know.
not Star Wars."
What year did that come out? The Phantom Menace?
What?
What year did that come out? Phantom Menace?
Oh Lord.
It was 1999, I think
yeah,
it was.
I think you're
Oh,
right.
Yeah, I thought it was close to the.
I was
the
still
turn.
in junior high.
Child.
Yeah.
That's when I went. I met my wife that year,
Oh wow.
and I remember when it came out, and this was right before I met her. She went to go see it with her friends, and I saw it with my friend. And I remember that movie theater was so packed. People were so excited to see this movie. They were like, "Oh my God, it's Star Wars!" Everyone thought it was going to be kind of like what the new Star Wars is going to be. Like have that nostalgic feel to it.
Yeah.
And then I just remember at the end, everyone was kind of like, it was okay. It
was
so
what it was, but
Yeah.
It was quick, it was different, and it had Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though, even though I didn't like Phantom Menace, I do have fond memories of it because my little brother, I was 99. I was probably like 22. My brother's 15 years younger than me, so he was a little kid, and this was like his introduction to Star Wars. And it was this huge thing for him, and he fell in love with it, had the toys and everything, so it became this magical thing. And, you know, every movie after that we went to see together, and, you know, so, you know, for all the flaws, it holds good memories for me, and especially Attack of the Clones. The theater was so packed during that movie that me and my brother had to squeeze in this little space on the very top row between these people, crowded the people. It was almost standing room. And sitting there watching that movie, and then when the Yoda scene where he pulls out the lightsaber and starts spinning through the air and stuff.
Oh yeah,
that theater erupted, man. It was clapping and cheering, whistling. It was an amazing experience.
that was a better movie. I thought, you know, that was a much better movie. And then the third one was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
I liked the third one a lot.
Third one was the best because that's what led into the next three.
Right.
You know, but then again, though, the ending was a little bit cheesy when he breaks out of the whole table or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You know, the Frankie was like the Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. No.
He's like, yeah. I was like, what is that? You know,
me and my friends made fun of that for so many.
I was like, that ruined the whole scene. I'm like, come on, man.
You know, I really do think to this day they were trying to replicate the Star Trek con thing.
Probably.
You know?
Good old Star Wars, man.
Which, you know,
although there has been a theory running around lately that Padme didn't quote unquote die of a broken heart.
Yeah, there was like an original cut to that film or something, right?
Yeah, that the Emperor actually did something to her.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, then that
Thank you, Chris.
Welcome.
It took you long enough though. But
I had to figure out if I even had it still on the button app.
It took you as long as it took Darth Vader to get that no out, but
yeah,
that's okay.
exactly.
I had to get the device, I had to get on the app, and then I had to find it.
Wine, just like Vader. But anyway, yeah, supposedly. But then that doesn't make a lot of sense because of you know, she went through the entire process of childbirth.
Yeah, that's true.
Before finally dying.
Right.
So it's like very slow sucking the life out of her.
Yeah, it had to be very slow. Speaking of Star Wars, now I know we're sidetracking a lot, but John, I don't know if you've read the new Star Wars book. Have you? Not the new one. No.
Okay.
If I can talk English, no.
You need to read this book. I know the rest of us have read it. You need to read the main Star Wars series. There's 2 issues out now from Marvel.
That good, huh?
It is fantastic, dude. We've been giving it like 5 stars. It's like reading an extension of the original movies. It is good.
Yeah, it's you have the actor's voice in your head while you're reading this book.
Yep. Nice.
It's a beautifully written book, and the attention to detail in this book is amazing. Not just like the artwork, but I'm talking like even within the dialogue. It's just amazing, and they reference everything, you know, going back to the original Star Wars trilogy. There's just things that they go back to, and it's just a great book, such a fun read. If you're any Star Wars fan, will truly appreciate what they're trying to do here.
Mm-hmm. And artistically, they got the likenesses really well done too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because unlike most of you, I'm old enough to remember the Star Wars comics the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, I remember some of them. I mean, I didn't read them when they first came out, obviously, but I did read some of those, and
But they got a little rough there.
It's much better this time around. Yeah.
This is. I remember some of those old Star Wars books, but I do want to go back and read them, though. Yeah. I kind of want to laugh. I kind of want to really do.
Just for the nostalgia of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
John, you read Original Sin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Same writer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So. Jason Aaron.
Yeah.
So, you got to check them out, and then let me know what you think. Let us know what you think.
Darth Vader, I read Darth Vader today. I love the artwork. I really did enjoy the artwork, but not a bad start, but took a little bit of getting into for me, at least.
Yeah, Darth Vader's a different writer, which we're not fans of. And
I put that out of my head.
I did too. I tried to.
Story itself.
Yeah, it was like me and Mike were talking about it a little bit earlier. It was kind of half and half for me. It was like parts of it I thought were well done because it connected to the main series in a way, but it kept its own story separate at the same time.
And it spoiled the ending that we didn't see yet in Star Wars.
Yeah, it did. But no, I mean some of it was okay, but some of it, like we were talking, Palpatine and Darth Vader just didn't quite seem like themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
They were a little bit off and different things like that. It's nitpicky stuff, I'm sure, but it didn't grab me as much as the main series did.
It was enough to pull you out of it.
Yeah.
It did connect like the original series did. I felt that the flow, it didn't flow smooth. It just started off different with him meeting up with Jabba the Hutt and stuff. And then it's just like him and the Emperor were so like, they were instead of being more allies with each other, they were more enemies against each other. I felt like.
It was like
it was too weird.
Yeah, it was like Vader was almost secretly plotting against him, and Palpatine was kind of treating Vader like he was this petulant child.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
it was just weird.
Yeah, I would expect this, like, if this was taking place between the last two movies, because you could see that Darth Vader started to, especially in Episode 6, where he turned against Palpatine, this would fit a little bit more, but this is all the way at the beginning. He was literally, whatever Palpatine said, it was law.
Yeah.
It was weird. Very, very weird.
It was.
The end of it got me interested. You know, you get to see the bounty hunter. And then I didn't expect his little sidekick with him.
Yeah, that was.
I was kind of like, whoa. Yeah. I'm like, who's that with him? You know. So, and then they had flashback parts in there, which were nice. Yeah. Which was okay, but I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. It just, you know what? You get so spoiled with the main book. The main book is so good.
I think
so. You're automatically expecting this to be just as good. Yeah. So. We'll see where it goes.
I will say it's the best thing I've read from Kieran Gillen, maybe ever.
Ever. For me, ever.
So, yeah.
That's funny. I guess that's, saying something, I guess.
I think Gillen just has to back up with Palpatine and Darth. He went a little too far into the future.
Yeah, back. I'm not even going to say Gillen's a bad writer. I'm going out on a limb here. I'm just going to say.
Yeah, I was about to say, you've had it in for Gillen for the longest time.
But he makes some weird choices, and I don't understand it. We won't go into the Iron Man stuff. We'll
oh yeah, no.
Oh God, please! I think we're all. I think even Marvel is ignoring it.
I think so. The whole Ring Corps and all that stuff. We'll ignore that.
The Ring Corps. I totally forgot about that.
God, I forgot about that.
It's burned into my brain. I can't help
it. John did not have the pleasure of reading that. I'm sure, right?
The Ring Corps? No,
Yeah.
I think I did tell you about it at one point, though.
I think you did, but yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, it's.
I wasn't subjected to that.
I dropped it right before the Ring Corps started. I said, "I'm done. Yeah. I can't."
Oh man, I think you were the one that told us about it, Mike.
Oh, I think it was Jay.
Oh, was it Jay? No, yeah, you're right. It was Jay.
That was hard. Oh my God, though. And then he showed us pictures of it, and we were like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, because we had all dropped it. He kept reading it. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, we kept on making fun of him for reading. Oh my God, it's just probably one of the worst stories ever written.
Yeah, I agree.
Not good.
Oh man.
So let's hope Darth Vader does not go down that path.
Yeah, please.
They introduced one ring in that series. Come on.
Surely, Disney's gonna have their watchful eyes on that property.
Yeah. I was surprised they put him on there. They put such a great writer like Jason Aaron on that book, and then it's like, okay, well, Darth Vader, he's just as important in this universe, if not more. And so to slap Gillen on there, I was shocked.
Yeah. It is odd. It is odd because Gillen seems to be the writer they go to when they want something completely out of the box, something that's different. And I'm not. I don't understand the appeal, but whatever. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I would have liked to switch it, put Gillen on Leia's book and put Mark Waid on Darth Vader. I don't know why, but I would have liked to have seen a Mark Waid Darth Vader book.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting. Because
I think it would be great because, in my opinion, Mark Waid can do no wrong, but
he hasn't done anything.
He hasn't. I mean, he never has. So,
which we'll talk about here in a little bit when we talk about books that we're looking forward to in March, because that's when Princess Leia comes out.
So Spider-Man, the movie.
What?
They're going nuts for all the promotion.
Yeah.
Of the Leia book, I'll say that.
Yeah, you posted something on CR today, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was, 10 or so just cover images?
Yeah.
So they're going a little crazy.
Oh, Marvel did, I think, A to Z for Star Wars. Darth Vader had A to D.
It was a lot for Star Wars. I don't think it was quite that many, but it was a lot. It was probably like 15 or so.
Well, there were signed covers also, because Midtown had Jason Aaron.
Gotcha.
And the artist? Why is the artist leaving me?
Is it John Cassaday?
John Cassaday. They had both of them there, so there's a lot of signed books, the gold ones and stuff like that. So
I love the action figure variants.
They're pretty cool. They do a good job with those.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. All right, so that was your classic Zone 4 sidetrack.
That was like sidetrack.
And we didn't even talk about really Spider-Man. We just talked for a little bit.
That's how we do it here.
Yeah.
But no, we should get into our topic. So with that, it's topic time.
Topic time. It's topic time.
And we have nobody to do the little thing because Ron's not here. So
Ron's always topic.
See, now, there we go. We got it.
There you go. I didn't want to have to do it.
I know. I didn't either.
I'm glad you did.
New guy.
We should bring the shout outs back also. Get some Tarzan.
Yeah.
There we go. That would be nice. We have no new shout outs though. So.
We should.
I know.
Done it for a while.
I'm telling you. We're back, everybody. You wanna get your name shouted out on the show? Just hit the like button on our Facebook page, and there you go. So there's our little promo.
Yeah, honestly, don't make us call you losers and stuff like that, because we will.
Oh yeah.
If you don't start signing up for the damn Facebook page, come on. I mean, it's there.
That's how you want people to like your Facebook page.
That's how you want people in there. Yeah. Defiance. Now, I'm going to sign up just to prove you wrong, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you do it. Don't do it.
Don't you sign up.
Don't push that like button.
Don't push that. I'll come to your house.
Reverse psychology in that.
That's right. Reverse psychology at its best.
Oh, shoot. But we started off talking about Spider-Man, and that's what we're going to continue to talk about, because Spider-Verse this week has officially wrapped, and we all read most of it. I know I read.
God, I tried.
Yeah, I read a good portion of it. There probably was a few issues here and there I missed, but I know we read the main stories in this whole event, all four of us. So we're going to talk about it, talk about the whole thing, how it ended, what we liked, what we didn't like, and all this stuff. So who wants to kick us off here? Any takers, any volunteers? I'm going to keep talking till
I'll do it. I'll do it because I'm not
much.
the big spot.
Go ahead.
Since everybody else got suddenly quiet, I'll take it.
Nobody wants to talk about that ending.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even the ending that concerned me that much, because it, was abrupt, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely abrupt. But there were little things along the way that kind of took me out of it a lot.
Okay.
For example, I was really surprised how quickly that the Captain Universe Spider-Man was dispatched.
That's true. Yep. I kind of was too. Now that you mention it.
I was angry at that too. Yeah.
I was a little bit, because when 616 Peter had the cosmic power, he took on some pretty heavy duty folks and took them on fairly easily. Right. I mean, he took on a living tribunal.
Yeah.
And to have a character like, Merlon and his little family there be that much of a problem,
Yeah. No, it's very true. And Spider-Ham's still around.
Yeah, and Spider-Ham, that was another thing. You know, I liked Spider-Ham for what it was.
Yeah.
You know, and I like the... yeah, I know what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is the same thing they tried to do with... over at DC with Captain Carrot.
Okay.
They're trying to bring, you know, they're trying to say that, yeah, all these worlds coexist.
Right.
But the idea of having a completely cartoon world existing in the same universe with a completely, you know, pseudo-realistic world just doesn't work. Really, the only time that Ham made any sense in that whole thing is where... Okay, I'm going to spoil it for people who haven't read it. When they used him to replace the baby.
Yeah, which was in this week's wrap-up issue.
Yeah, which was in this week. Sorry for the spoilers, kids. You ought to know by now. Zone 4 spoils. So, yeah, you know, that was the only time I really saw him having any purpose. And, God, it's been a long time since I read, you know, Spider-Ham.
Yeah.
I totally forgot he had that brown hair on his head.
I didn't know.
I you know what? I didn't even know he had hair.
I didn't either.
I mean that shocked me. It looked, and the fact that like he was, you know, more or less nude.
Right.
That was a little disturbing, actually.
It was quite disturbing because one, I forgot about the shock of hair. Two,
you're staring at a naked.
I'm staring at a naked pig, and I'm trying to think. Okay, I know we don't have the code anymore, but I know they're trying to go realistic, and where the hell's Spider-Ham's junk? And, you know, that got into my head, and I don't need stuff like that in my head.
Yeah.
So,
you know, it's like, where do you look at that point? You're like,
yeah, where am I looking? You know,
he's got hair. He's naked. He's got hair. He's naked. What am I looking at?
Yeah, and the fact that he was still so cartoony. In the mix of this, you know, in the mix of this pseudo-realism, just completely took me out of it. You know, just completely kind of ruined the whole thing for me. And, you know, no, honestly, there were way too many Spider-Men in the book.
Yeah.
There were, and I was kind of, not to cut you off, but I was kind of disappointed that some of my favorites didn't make it. Like, even though I agree with you how it's hard to have the cartoon stuff coexist, but like the Spider-Man's Amazing Friends, where they just one page and they're dead.
Yeah, now that one I could have bought coming into this, because, you know, it's not. I mean, yeah, they were animated,
right?
But they were animated within a world of people.
Yeah.
And, you know, the animals were animals. The animals weren't anthropomorphic and talking.
Very true.
Yeah, it's just having the anthropomorphic animal really bugged me. And, you know, several times I got lost on who was who.
Sure.
You know, that wasn't surprising at all. Because there were just too bloody many Spider-Men in there. And, honestly, you know, I like the women that they highlighted.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see them highlight a few more women. Like in the... Now, granted, I didn't read across the board, but in it was either Edge of Spider-Verse or it was Spider-Verse Tales or something. They had the steampunk one.
Yeah.
You know, they had the steampunk Spider-Girl, Spider-Woman, I forget. She was Lady Spider.
Lady Spider, yeah.
Lady Spider, yeah. You know, I would have liked to see her do a little more.
She actually, you probably didn't get to read the Spider-Man 2099 series.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, she actually was in that series with Miguel.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. See, so I did miss out on that. Well, but yeah, and another thing, whoever is drawing Spider-Man, I didn't really look, and I don't like calling people out by name, but they, other than Rob Layfield, of course, but they honestly need to learn how to draw dwarves, midgets, whatever you want to call Anna Maria or Anna, whatever it was.
Marconi.
Anna Marie, yeah.
Marconi, yeah.
Yeah, Marconi.
Yeah, she looked at different times like a child.
Yeah.
Honestly. And it wasn't just the height difference, it was the way they drew her. And, and I didn't read Spectacular Spider-Man, but, I got enough from context that she and Doc Ock Spidey had a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now they don't, now that Peter's back in his own head.
Right.
Right.
But now he's got this big thing for Silk, which I was fine with and would have liked them to maybe explore a little bit more if they weren't being chased by vampires. But which essentially that's another thing. I know Merlin is an old character. Mm-hmm. He's been around for a long time.
Right.
And I know he's not supposed to be an energy vampire, but he's an energy vampire.
More or less.
Call him what he is. You know, instead of trying to make this whole convoluted thing. And then, to get to the ending, to have the brother that fights against them, and that just sort of completely, it's just that abrupt ending was just like, we found this guy, but hey, he's on our side, and we're done.
Yeah, I think that's all our complaint with it. Mike, I know you said that to me, or maybe in the group or something.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say, the last thing I wanted to say, I'm glad you suggested that we read the Spider-Woman one.
Oh,
because honestly, that 4-issue arc was, for me, the best of everything that I read.
I agree.
I really enjoyed that. I've always kind of enjoyed Jessica Drew as a character anyway, and her various iterations in and out of the costume, but I really, really enjoyed that. It had that right mix, the same thing it had in the Avengers. It was that right mix of serious and funny. That right mix of slapsticky, without being, pie-in-your-face slapsticky. It was that little bit of, just on the edge of going too far with the funny, but just staying right at that edge. And I really, really enjoyed that.
Right.
It's good. It did a really good job at explaining her closure there as an Avenger and wanting to be a different person.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about that particular.
And the part about the suit was hilarious. About the suit. Because, it really made me think about, she's got like the skin tightiest suit in the whole, thing there, and that's what.
Carol
that's
was
what
so
people
excited
got
about
about.
that too.
Yeah, it's like the national nightmare is done. It's like, really? You think her suit's a national nightmare? I'm kind of fond of that suit.
I like the suit too, but just
especially when certain Spanish artists draw it.
It's a controversial suit. That's why they're changing that.
Well, yeah, probably because they got in so much trouble with that
cover. Yeah.
With that cover, yeah. But that's my feelings on Spider Slayer. Or Spider Slayer, crap.
Yeah, there we go.
Spider-Verse. I have whole different feelings on Spider Slayer, but no, that's my thing on Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse, I think, was a highly anticipated event that did a really good job at getting people excited for it. And I think it was a good idea, but I think the execution wasn't there.
Right.
And I think the tie-in issues were much better than the actual series itself. The series itself felt too cluttered, and at times there was just it just seemed like it's like, hey, make sure you read the tie-in events. Hey, check out all these Spider-Men in here. And it was aggravating. And one of the other things that I didn't like about Spider-Verse was I felt there was nothing going on in the actual comic. The setting was horrible. There was no real setting in there. And all the Spider-Man always seemed like they were just standing around doing nothing, being, hey, what are we going to do? How are we going to stop these guys? And then by the time you get to the end of the issue or the end of the series, you're like, okay, well, let's go to their world and let's destroy them. And so now this time, what was different that made them destroy them? Right. You know what I'm saying? There's no difference. Just because they're
clones, they didn't have the clones.
Just because
that was it.
Yeah, exactly. You're right, Chris. And it was no clones. and it was very aggravating. So I felt that I enjoyed the actual tie-in issues better because it made the Spider characters shine in their particular tie-ins. Where in the main series, no one really shined at all.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you can honestly say that maybe Mayday Parker shined a little bit, you know, at times, but even her character, for me at least, seemed a little whiny because all she was like, well, when are we going to stop them? When are we going to defeat them? When are we going to beat
they
them?
killed my dad. Oh, they killed my mom, you know?
It's like, dude, shut up. You know, honestly, like, shut up. But stop being a baby. I get that you're upset, you know, but enough is enough now, you know?
Right.
And my thought process behind Spider-Verse was that I would have loved to see it go somewhere else where it didn't need to have so many Spider-Men. Have a selected few Spider-Men in there, and you see Moreland or the other characters, the other inheritors, maybe going to different timelines of Spider-Man or different Earths of Spider-Man, and say Peter Parker has got to go through this portal and maybe team up with Mayday or team up with somebody else and try to stop them from defeating these other Spider-Men for whatever reason. So, like, say how we had the Spider-Man and their Amazing Friends. Wouldn't that be badass if we had a part where Moreland went to that universe and Peter followed him with a couple other characters and they, you know, all did this battle, you know, somehow? I mean, I think that would be a little bit better in my opinion because you would get certain characters that would shine. And that's kind of like how those Edge of Spider-Verse issues were. You know, they focused on characters like that. And when you saw those characters, you're like, wow, that's really awesome. And that lacked in this main event. And so that was my main problem with it.
Yeah, it was the same 10. Essentially, it was the same 10 or so Spider people that did everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And everyone else was literally standing around.
Yeah, and that's the problem. They were just surrounded by all these. It was kind of hard to tell what was going on at times, and if you didn't really pay close attention early on, you wouldn't even known about the whole clone body thing. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my favorite issue of this series, honestly, was #1 because the way they introduced the characters, it was almost like a cinematic feel to it. That's how I really felt with that issue. It was like they had a few of the Spider people popping up and they introduced the characters really well to the reader and you're just like, oh wow, this is really awesome how they're doing this. And then once you get into those middle issues, you're just like, okay, now what? It was just, I felt like I was reading the same thing over and over and over again. And this was claimed to be the best Spider event ever. You know?
No,
All they did
by
was
far.
And I have read so many Spider-Man story arcs and events, and this is not, in my opinion, a memorable event at all.
Right.
No, all they did
I'm not even.
No, go ahead, John.
No, I'm sorry, Chris. I was just going to say, I'm not even that huge a Spider-Man fan, and I can name like 5 better events than this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I just feel like the whole series was them standing around talking about what to do with the Inheritors. They get attacked, they run to a different Earth. They get attacked, they run to a different Earth. And I agree with Mike, the side stories were better. I feel like the main series, after the first issue, bounced off of the tie-ins. That the tie-ins really felt more like the main series, and the main series just followed along with them. That's why I kept saying, don't forget to check out this, don't forget to check out that, because all the stuff that was actually going on was going on in the tie-ins, in Spider-Woman, in Silk, well, not Spider-Woman, in the mini-series, the Scarlet Spiders, and even the team-up book I don't feel was too necessary. That just introduced other spiders, and then those two $5 issues for Spider-Verse were completely unnecessary.
Oh yeah.
Completely. It was like, oh, we could get $5 for these 2 books and make $10. Let's put out 2 books that talk about some Spider people from other universes that probably won't even show up in the main series at all.
Yeah. I still love how every news site out there was like, oh, punk rock Spider-Man's new, and he had been around the whole time.
That wasn't new to me.
Yeah.
It's just a frustrating event. It kind of was. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like, oh, it was horrible. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying that it definitely wasn't. It had a lot of flaws, and it wasn't the most exciting event in the world, and it just ended. It was just like, hey, we saved the day, and it was like, yeah, okay, that's it.
It became much more of a novelty thing as it went on. It was just like, oh, we got all these spider characters together. Okay, that's cool. That would make a bunch of nice, pinups to see all these.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's what they were playing off of.
Yeah.
It felt like every issue was like another episode of Pokemon. They catch another couple of Spider-Men, and they move forward. By the end of this series, there were so many Spider-Men, but in the last issue, all it focused on was Pete, Spider-Ham, and Doc Ock Spidey the most out of everything. And then they just all converged. Convergence joke right there. At the end of the book. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
And
Doc Ock did something dark. More
Yeah.
here.
Honestly, they spent too much time on him.
They did, because in the end, he was inconsequential. He didn't mean
right, he
anything
was
in the whole
useless.
thing. Yeah.
And I mean, it was kind of interesting at first that, there was that confusion that Ock thought he was from later in Peter's timeline instead of earlier.
Yeah, and he
or
realized,
vice versa, yeah,
right. And he came to grips with the fact that, I lose, basically, yeah.
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 So, I mean, I've never found him in, I wasn't that big of interest in Superior anyway.
Yeah.
But, they just spent too much time on him, I thought.
Superior was an interesting book once you really just accept it.
Yeah, I think for what it was, I mean, it was an interesting concept.
Yeah.
But, like Mike was saying, I think it just went too far, went on too long. And I think that's kind of the problem with a lot of these major events lately, especially for Marvel.
No.
All good
Cash
concepts,
cows.
but they go, cash cows, honestly.
Yeah.
But they go on too long and they try to do too much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I will agree with you that, I really enjoyed the female characters that they highlighted.
Yeah, a lot.
I love Spider-Gwen. I actually really like Silk as well. Lady Spider and Jessica Drew she's one of my favorite characters anyway. So.
I wasn't as loved with the single Spider-Gwen story.
Really?
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay, but it wasn't anything like the bigger Spider-Woman story, or how she was portrayed throughout the other books. The single Spider-Gwen story was more of a, oh gosh, I don't know how to put it. Well, no, she came across as a little, I don't know, it's kind of a mix between whiny and flippant, if that makes any sense. Yeah, no, and just the fact of taking off her mask in front of her father, making it all good there at the end of that one issue was like, okay, well, that's anticlimactic as hell. It's like you couldn't have webbed his hands and run away and let this go on for a while.
I wonder now that you're saying this, if it resonated more with bigger Spider-Man fans. Like, I know for me, I'm a Gwen Stacy fan. I love Gwen Stacy.
Well, yeah.
I prefer her over Mary Jane personally. So seeing her come back in that way was just really cool for me. So I wonder if that has an effect.
Maybe I kind of wonder if they hadn't brought her back so many times prior to this, brought her back as a clone who fathered parentaled the kids with Osborn and all that. That kind of really took away from that, that no one's as dead as Gwen Stacy dead.
Yeah, John. I don't address the John Michael Straczynski.
Right. We don't talk about the clones.
Run on Amazing.
We don't talk about the clones. We don't talk about One More Day. We don't talk about any of that stuff.
Don't talk about the children of Osborn either.
Unfortunately, as a Spider-Man fan, there's a lot of Spider-Man we don't talk about.
We don't talk about, yeah. But it's that one thing she mentioned in the main book where she said, in your universe, I got chucked off a bridge.
Yeah.
And honestly, that one little statement had more resonance for me than the whole thing of her trying to make up for the death of Peter Parker, which, maybe I missed the story that it went in, but, I don't really know how Peter died. So, I mean, how her Peter Parker died. So
The lizard, I think, killed him, or he was.
oh, did he?
He
Okay.
was the lizard, or something like
He
that.
was using a formula.
Yeah, he was using the
that's what
formula.
happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I caught where she said trying to emulate me,
Yeah.
which I wasn't sure how all that went down.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, that was really good. Although as far as cartoony goes, I thought the Katie Cook, the little Spider Girl thing, the cute little thing, I thought that was hilarious. I loved that.
I'm trying to remember it.
It was in one of the.
It was in between. It was like a cartoony one, right?
Yeah, it was like in that one that had like 4 or 5 vignettes in each.
The first
thing.
Spider-Verse issue.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a cute little Katie Cook one, which was very much in the Katie Cook style, very cartoony, very, very cute. She was like a little, she's like a little girl. It's like, ooh, spiders are icky.
Oh, yeah, I do remember
stuff
now.
coming out of my hands. Yeah, I thought that was cute as far as cartoony stuff. I'm really glad that little girl didn't show up in Spider-Verse.
Very true. Yeah, that would have been.
That
What
would have
girl?
messed up.
Oh, you got it.
No, go ahead. That's it.
I was gonna say, what girl they kind of pushed to the side from Spider-Verse? Remember the girl that had the spider spirit in her and she was controlling that mech suit? What happened to her?
She was
kind
in
of showed
there.
up at the end,
Yeah, she
Yeah,
was.
She was
She
in
was
the
in
end
there.
she was like background though, I felt.
like in a panel or two. It's like I knew you
Yeah.
were indestructible. Whatever that big mech thing's name was.
No, that was the Japanese Spider-Man. I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay then.
the girl.
Yeah, from.
No, I'm lost then.
Yeah,
She was in there at the end there, Chris. She got kind of shoved down in there.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of people that they featured in those Edge of Spider-Verse books that really didn't.
Matter.
That didn't
Get any play
matter.
later on?
Yeah, she's actually when you're at towards the end of the book with the big Japanese Spider-Man.
Yeah.
She's right above the other Spider-Man.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, she's right above it.
Yeah.
In that same page. She's getting defeated by Gen X.
Yeah, didn't she yell like a little help here or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah. Now I remember.
She's like, someone please stop him. This really hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, whatever.
That was the only
yeah, it's
time
like
we
we're
saw
all
her.
too busy posing. We don't have time to stop.
Exactly.
John, you said so. You read Spider Woman, so you did read that.
Yeah, I read that.
yeah.
I just
Okay,
didn't read
so-
the 2099 one.
Right. So I feel that without Marvel claimed that you don't need to read these tie-in issues to really get to enjoy this effect, and I think they're totally wrong about that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't read Spider-Man 2099, and if you don't read Spider-Woman, is more, I think, important to read than any of them all, then you're going to be, I don't think you're going to enjoy this event nearly as much. I mean, if you enjoyed it at all,
Even Scarlet
Yeah,
Spiders, which
Oh yeah, Scarlet Spiders.
Yeah.
You're right, Brant. I forgot about that.
which
yeah.
I didn't like as well, but I think you do need to read it to get it all. But go ahead, John.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say that's very true, but the reverse isn't true in the case of Spider-Woman anyway.
Oh, that if
Now
you just read
the other
Spider-Woman?
books.
Is that what you're
Now,
saying?
if you just read that Spider-Woman and that's it,
Oh, you'd be totally lost. Yeah, I agree with you.
you'd be a little lost. But I think it was a complete enough story on its own that you didn't necessarily need the rest of the Spider-Verse stuff, because she hits on it. She hits on it very lightly, but she does hit on it, and you do see her dealing with, at least in her particular corner of the thing, the important characters for her.
Yeah, I agree. I see your point.
I mean, you wouldn't know who Silk was, and you wouldn't know who these other Spider-Women were, and all that other stuff necessarily. But it was still a good enough story on its own that I think it would have held up on its own.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say where some of the others wouldn't have.
Yeah, I see your point, because thinking about several of the tie-in stuff, they were complete stories in and of themselves, and they did reference enough to give you hints at what was going on in the main thing. So they had a beginning, middle, and end. They wrapped it up, their part of it.
Right.
So,
I think she did it the best. Her title
yeah, I agree.
did it the best of all of them.
I agree with that.
very, very risky to start it that way. And
True.
you know, because we even said that like in the first issue, you know, we were all talking about it and we're like, why would you start a brand new series in the beginning of an event like this?
Right.
You know?
Right, in the middle of a fight, yeah.
But each issue got progressively better.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time you got to the end of this one, it was so well done. I just enjoyed it, and now it's become its own title. You know, now really Spider-Woman really begins in issue 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even
Right,
if you didn't read the first 4 issues, you could just jump on at issue 5 and you'll be completely fine. It's like an issue 1.
Right.
Right. Well, I think once you established in your head that, hey, she's universe hopping,
Mm-hmm.
and you know that she found this sort of very vapid version of herself
Mm-hmm.
in this one universe to deal with, and you know, having to set her up now as the leader of Loom World. Spoiler once again. So, yeah, you know, I think that was a heck of a lot better story than, you know, following Ock through 2099 or anything else.
Yeah. Just a quick note. We're thinking about when we're recording this as opposed to when it goes live. So your spoilers, they're fine because the books have been out for a week and a half by the time people hear
No,
about
that's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
it. So,
That's funny.
but yeah. Go ahead.
Brant, what are your overall thoughts on all this?
You know, I pretty much agree with you guys. I heard you say it on, I think, one of the live shows or something, that it wasn't the event that you were expecting. And
Right.
I think you reiterated it here. And I felt the same kind of way. I don't know what exactly I expected out of Spider-Verse, but I know what I got wasn't exactly what I was looking for. And I do agree that it was, the main series in Amazing Spider-Man was really crowded. It was a lot of just standing around and trying to figure out what we're going to do, and then all of a sudden at the end, oh, now we know what to do, let's do this. While everybody else in all the other books did all the work. And, you know, that's kind of counterproductive to how Spider-Man is in my mind. I feel like Spider-Man is always at the forefront trying to do everything he can, and it didn't seem like they were capitalizing on that, which has always been my concern with Dan Slott, his portrayal of Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why Superior was so much better, because it wasn't him writing Peter Parker, it was him writing Doc Ock.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's all those elements that we talked about with, you know, a lot of the tie-ins were really good. They told these complete stories, very interesting. Spider-Woman was great. I love these female characters and everything. But I agree that it was too crowded, too drawn out, and too abruptly ended. And, you know, now we've got all these characters, we don't know what we're going to do with them, and then we have all the Secret Wars of Battle World coming up, so I don't know.
Right. Well, you know, also they just created for themselves the exact problem that DC tried to fix with Crisis.
But they're gonna recorrect it here in a couple months.
We'll see. You know, we'll see. Honestly,
Right.
And you know, and also they always try to put Spider-Man as kind of, you know, the center of whatever universe he's in.
Sure.
At least that's the way I've always felt about Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact he is far from the most powerful, the far from the most talented, or the far from the most anything, that they try to put him as pretty much the center of the universe, and the one that usually, you know, pulls the rabbit out of the hat every time when it's a big cosmic problem.
Yeah, it's because,
You know, if he happens to be in the story.
yeah, it's because he's the heart and soul of Marvel.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Like I can remember, I can't remember the name of the sorcerer, but you know, he essentially turned all of Manhattan into some medieval thing, and the Avengers and the X-Men and everyone else were all changed, and it was Spider-Man who pulled, you know, out of the bag, even though he had been tortured through most of the story.
Right.
But anyway, you know, they tried to do that, and honestly, I never felt like if they killed any of these characters, it would have mattered that much. You know, with the possible exception of 616 Peter.
Yeah.
And the only way I could identify him was that goofy thing on his arm.
Yeah.
Once I finally started looking for that, I knew which one he was.
And
I never felt the urgency in this story, you know?
I agree with you, and I think they illustrated that in that last issue where he pretty much said, I've beaten you twice before, I'll beat you again. Right. And it was like, why are you so special? It was that kind of thing. It was like, okay, they're literally saying 616 Spider-Man is basically, to not to go with the cliche, but superior to all the other Spider-Men in the entire multiverse.
Right. Well, they even said that early on.
Yeah.
That it's like he was the one that they all defer to. Even, Captain Universe, Spider Guy, or Captain Spider Guy, whatever he was calling himself.
Spider-Man UK.
No, the Captain Universe, the one with the Captain Universe powers.
The cosmic power.
The Cosmic Spider-Man.
Cosmic Spider-Man, whatever.
Cosmic Spider-Man, in my opinion, is the all-powerful Spider-Man.
Yeah, I would have thought defer to the guy with the essentially the most power in the world here, but he was dispatched in like 2 panels, so whatever.
Yeah,
but yeah, so but it even in the separate universes, I mean, does it follow that Spider-Man is the most important thing in each one of his universes? Because I didn't feel that in this story. Right. I didn't feel any sense of urgency that the fact that so many of these spider people had gotten killed.
Yeah.
How is that going to affect their particular world?
Yeah. And I mean, some of them, you couldn't see them in that role anyway. Even the Uncle Ben one, you couldn't see him as that central character.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if he hadn't snuck the baby away, I have no idea why he would have even been in the story.
Right.
Yeah.
That was his shining moment.
Yeah.
In the whole story, and it was a panel long.
Right.
So, I mean, with Dan Slott, okay, you look at what he's done with the Spider-Man character. I feel like he cannot write a true Peter Parker Spider-Man, so that's why he does all this stuff that he does. You get superior Spider-Man, so he's got to alter the character completely, and you wind up getting. You had 3 issues or 4 issues of the next volume of Amazing Spider-Man come out before you jump into Spider-Verse,
right?
And so now he throws out, hey, let's just do this gimmick thing where we throw out all these Spider-Men, out here, and what he managed to do was drive away all the characters in Peter Parker's life.
Yep.
Aunt May, J. Jonah Sr., Carly Cooper, Mary Jane, and he's driven all those characters away, and somehow he's managed to create his own cast.
Yep.
He's created Anna Marie, he's created Sanjana, he's created Silk, so he doesn't get the blame for messing up characters.
Yep.
But at the same time, he still gets that heat too because of what he's done to Mary Jane and some of the other characters that he's exiled from his run. So I don't know how much longer people are going to kind of take that and going forward.
A lot of people want Dan Slott actually to step down from Spider-Man because his run is just Superior was good for what it was worth. Personally, I wasn't into the whole Doc Ock Spidey thing. It was okay for what it was worth, in my opinion. But a lot of people want Dan Slott to stand down because he's exactly everything Mike said, plus the fact that his books haven't been anything more than average. This series set up, the way that they were talking, this was going to be the series of the year, the biggest event that wasn't, an event. That was going to happen. 2015 was the definitive Spider-Verse, and the ramifications were going to, vibrate throughout all the Spider-Man books forever and whatever. They had so many issues where they kept building it up and building it up and building it up. It's like a balloon, They were filling it with the helium. They were adding more and more Spider-Man. They were, talking and talking. And every issue, like, okay, the next issue they'll start building up to the grand finale, and then we get the finale. And instead of going out with this huge bang, it goes out with like you let go of the balloon and the air just went. And that was it, and it's like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I jumped on Superior Spider-Man because it was different, and I appreciated what he was doing with that character and the stories he was telling. That I really enjoyed the series.
I did too.
But I still held my opinion, like we just talked about, with Peter Parker. Ever since Dan Slott jumped on Amazing Spider-Man back in the 600s, when they were doing the rotating creative teams, before he took it over completely, I never liked his take on Peter Parker, and it's not a slight against him as a writer, because obviously he can write good stories. In my opinion, Superior Spider-Man is proof of that, and I'm sure he's done other stuff that's good. It's just that character of Peter Parker, I don't think he gets, and I don't think he can grasp enough to write a solid Peter Parker story.
Yeah, that's why he's had to change everything.
Yeah.
Well, I will say one thing, because I'm not enough into the series to have as deeply held opinions as you do.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I do like the idea of Peter having his own company.
Mm-hmm.
Or having his own place where his intelligence has taken the forefront.
Right.
I think Slott may have the problem not being able to write trouble for Peter Parker, because kind of the backbone of Peter Parker has always been that despite all the crap that's he's having in his life, that he can still be heroic and get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from what little I've seen and from what I hear you guys talking about, that he doesn't know how to write those day-to-day troubles for Peter to deal with. He can write big, gigantic fight trouble. He can write stuff for Spider-Man.
But not for Peter Parker.
But not for Peter Parker.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and
that's why he wrote everybody off.
Yeah, and he has, like Peter Parker's company, Parker Industries, he has come up with good concepts. But like Mike said, he's ruined characters. He wrote Mary Jane completely wrong. He ruined her character completely. And
Black Cat.
And Black Cat. He totally changed.
God.
He changed the core.
Yeah, I did see the Black Cat stuff, and I was really disappointed with that.
Yeah. It was just he doesn't get these characters, and I don't know. It seems like when you hear him in interviews and stuff, he just likes to mess with the fans too. And I don't know. There's something about that attitude towards the book that bothers me a little bit. So I don't know. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure I know he's a talented guy, but.
Mike and I met him briefly because he was running for the Marvel interview at New York Comic Con this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was very nice, very polite. He felt bad that he had to leave us, to do the interview because we were having a good conversation. But I agree with what you said, Brant. He definitely likes to mess with the fans. He likes to piss them off. Superior Spider-Man says it all. I mean, he held that Peter Parker's dead and gone forever for a year plus.
Mm-hmm. And
people... There was probably a hate group out there towards him for it, and he just kept going with it and kept going with it. He made it sound like this is legit. This is the end. There is no more Peter Parker. It's just Doc Ock. You guys got to get used to it. He's Spider-Man from now on, even after I leave. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, I was just playing with you.
And, though, I do, in a way, in a weird kind of way, I respect that because he's stuck to his guns as a creator, as a writer. That he had this story in his mind that he wanted to tell and he wanted to convey, and it didn't matter who tried to dissuade him from it, that he stuck to it. I do respect that, but at the same time, it's not Peter Parker, I
don't like being messed with. I mean, you can mess with us a little bit, but every single story, every single character, the mythos itself, no, that's where I draw the line.
When his run should have ended, it should have ended at Superior then. When Superior ended, he should have been done.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree with that.
Now, here's now that this is almost over, we have one more story. We have the epilogue that's coming up. But then you're going to get The Amazing Spider-Man 16.1, written by Jerry Conway. And just looking at the image that's in the comic book, really gets me excited because this is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This is the Spider-Man we know, not some crazy ass, time jumping, mind swapping, way out there stuff. This is, the streets, the underground, Hell's Kitchen. This is what Spider-Man's about, and I can't wait to read this series that's coming out soon.
Yeah,
Me too.
I agree. I'm ready for a nice, good Peter Parker Spider-Man story.
Oh
Yeah, absolutely.
We're ready for a couple of muggers and
Yeah.
couple of muggers hanging from streetlights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A much more grounded, down to earth, street level kind of thing. Yeah.
I think the events for Spider-Man need to take a break. I think for the rest of 2015, at least till the end of the year, just focus on the points and the regular series.
Yeah, you're not getting your wish with that.
Of course not.
No, definitely
You'll
not.
probably get this story right here, Chris, and then it's going to jump into the Secret Wars.
Yep.
And we found out that Secret Wars is having their own Spider-Verse comic book coming out.
It's
Of course.
it's interesting that you mentioned this because as this airs, Marvel solicits have already come out, and I actually have them here. So,
Of course you have.
yeah, of course I do, because they sent them early. But let's see. I'm trying to find, as we're talking about that, if I can find the Spider-Verse thing here. You guys can keep talking. I'll keep looking. But here it is. Never mind. I found it. Spinning out of the Spider-Verse event, a team of spiders finds themselves face to face with Battleworld, starring Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Man India, Mayday Parker, Spider UK, and Spider-Ham. That's your team.
So basically, the entire Spider-Man cast from Spider-Verse.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So.
And, which also begs the question, where's the baby?
Right.
Probably.
Because unless Uncle Ben's gonna be, the constant caretaker of this kid now.
Right. Yeah.
Is she gonna drag this baby to every event with her?
See, and that's weird too because Mayday, her focus wasn't even throughout this whole series. It wasn't even to beat Moreland and all them. It was good to get revenge for her family, but she wanted to just take her brother and go back home. I mean, that was her thing or whatever. And now she's off gallivanting with all these guys again. It just
in another battle world, in another dystopian world.
Yeah.
It's like it's just going to be the spider version of Lone Wolf and Cub. Is she going to make like a pouch that he goes in and?
Right. Oh man.
I don't know how I feel about Battle World yet.
I
don't know.
It's interesting. Man. I'm telling you, I'm looking over there's a bunch of titles coming out in May.
Of course, this is Marvel. They love to throw out a million titles, and they're $5 each, I bet.
Let's see.
Say no, Brant.
No,
Say no.
The Secret Wars issues. There's 2 issues coming out in May. Those are both $5. But the all these like Old Man Logan and all that stuff, they're $4. Yeah, they're $3.99. So.
Alright, that's not bad.
Yeah. I take that back. Some of them, Old Man Logan is actually $4.99, but some of them are $3.99.
Some of them.
Yeah, most of them. I'll say that.
Jeez.
Probably the only ones that make that are important to the overall story.
Naturally, Spider-Verse is $4.99. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, this is what I'm starting to this is really what's starting to piss me off with Marvel. Now they're pushing the $5 comic books. I mean, we jumped from $4, now we're at $5 and $6. This is what's going to drive a lot of readers away from Marvel, the cash cow. And we don't even know.
Yeah.
And then we don't even know when DC, and I think I was talking to Mike about this on the phone, we don't even know when Divergence comes out for DC if their books aren't going to go to $3.99.
Right.
Well, I'm telling you right now that I think all DC books are going to be at $3.99 going forward after Convergence, or from Convergence going forward.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
Yeah.
Because, like I've said already, the entire event of Convergence is going to cost you $365, and all their main books, like the main storyline, every single one of them is $4.99. Except, and then when you go on to the other titles, those ones are $3.99.
Yeah.
So that they're all pushing for that. That's why Marvel now is raising their price.
Yeah.
They feel like, okay, well DC is doing this, so now we've always been more money, so let's just do more money,
But that's what's going to throw fans away from the big two, honestly. Look, I can understand DC going to $3.99 some of their books, because they've already been doing it. Any new series that comes out is $3.99. it's rare that I think that is Secret Six $3.99 or is that $2.99? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think it might be $3.99 because it's
I think it probably is.
Yeah.
It's just the way it's going. I mean, they're charging all their books, their first issue books, seem to be being charged at $4.99, and then there's a major event that's $4.99, and then there are, quote unquote, milestone issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked when I noticed I paid $5 for that action for Superman 38, where they claim new costume, new power, and man, that was so not worth $5. Especially because of Romita Jr.'s artwork, it wasn't worth $5.
It's funny. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because we're coming towards the end of the show. But just looking over these Marvel solicits, and we're talking about pricing and everything, and we already know Marvel does a lot of $3.99, $4.99 stuff. And looking through all this, I mean, obviously the all ages books are going to be $2.99, but the regular titles, only one book is $2.99, and it's Miss Marvel. And it's holding that, which I love, because it's a great book and it's very popular, but it's funny that that's the one book that's the holdout.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So they can say, "Oh, we have books for $2.99."
Right.
Yeah.
Book.
Yeah.
Well, $2.99.
You know why? Honestly, I think it's because they've grown this very large female readership with the Miss Marvel book.
Yeah.
And I think if they start pushing the price up, they're going to lose that female readership.
Quite possible.
Because this is a bit of a stereotype, but I don't think a lot of women are going to put up with that crap like we do.
That's true.
Of them just keep raising the prices, and we just deal with it because we want our story.
Right.
Yeah, we like the books. I mean, it's a frustrating thing because as readers and reviewers and whatnot, and as enjoyment of it too, it's like you want to read everything because you enjoy so much of it.
Right, because it's been so integral to to a lot of your growth, a lot of your history.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to give it up.
And they make it harder and harder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got to force those cuts that each week.
Yeah. And just a quick aside with these solicits. In May, we finally get the identity of the new Thor.
So, finally!
Yeah, finally.
Gee whiz!
It only takes 8 issues.
Yeah.
8 long months. And Night Nurse, John. There's a new Night Nurse book.
Yes.
It's $8.
Good Lord.
$8.
Yeah, it's 112
Marvel.
pages.
I was about to say that thing better be like 100-page giant or come with
the actual Night Nurse.
come with automatic certification to become a nurse.
There you go.
At that price. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I mean, yeah, she not to get off on a rant, but she's definitely one of those characters that you've just never really been able to pin down because she seems to change with every iteration of her.
Right.
I mean, I know she's not supposed to have powers or anything like that, but, at times she's hanging out with Stephen Strange and seems to have, some sort of strange mystical thing to her. And I mean, honestly, she started out as a romance character. There were 3 night nurses back in the day, and they were just nurses that worked at night.
Right.
And that was the thing. And then they sort of made her the de facto doctor of the superheroes.
Well, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
So it's all real strange. Plus, her name is Linda Carter, which is, for
right.
comic geeks, it's always kind of funny.
Of course. I mean, obviously they're doing this because she's going to pop up in those Netflix series.
Of course,
she's got to, and it's guest starring Black Widow, Elektra, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones, of course. So,
of course.
But anyway.
Although I'm not quite sure why Elektra's there, but I get the rest of them.
Yeah, Daredevil, Elektra.
Daredevil, yeah, but she's kind of diverged from that. But I guess, are they planning to have her pop up in the series?
I don't know.
In the
I've not heard
Netflix
anything.
series? I don't know, because I thought they were going to try to keep it more street level.
Yeah, I think they are. So I mean, if she does, it'd be like if they do a season 2 or something, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
But all right. So we'll find out more about all that. I'm sure on the live show we'll talk about more about Marvel solicits because they come out on Tuesday. So all right. Speaking of looking ahead, though, before we do wrap things up, what are you guys looking forward to in March? Because March is almost upon us, and this is going to be a new feature we're going to do, or we're going to try to do, I'll say. On each episode that the four of us are doing, we'll look at the next month's upcoming titles because obviously we won't be together again on an episode until next month. So, and I know we were all talking about this before the show. There wasn't a lot that we could find, but surely we each found a few things that we could look forward to in March. Chris, why don't you start?
You can skip me for now. I'm still trying to find those few things that we're looking forward to because right now we're not finding anything.
Okay. Well, I've got mine ready. I can just go ahead and start while you guys are
Go
looking.
right ahead because
All right.
I'm not finding anything worth.
All right. Over on Valiant, Ninjak #1 is coming out. It's this was one of the series in the original Valiant that I really liked, and I got the first issue of that run too. He was one of the few characters that I really clicked with from the original.
Yeah, I was about to say you've always been an Ninjak fan, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, so they're coming out with that, so I'm looking forward to that from Valiant. Boom is doing a couple of interesting things. Bill and Ted's Most Triumphant Return. I'm just curious about that. I don't think I'll actually pick it up, but I'm very curious about it.
Oh, you'll pick it up.
I might.
At least the first issue. Excellent. It was an excellent comic.
One that you'll be interested in, John, I don't know if you saw it. Jimmy Palmiotti is writing a Boom's miniseries called The Con Job.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they describe it as a kind
that
of
might be fun.
Yeah, they describe it as kind of an Ocean's 11 kind of thing. So it's a 4-issue miniseries, so you might check that out.
That might be cool.
From Dark Horse, Neverboy, #1 of 6. It's he's a former imaginary friend that's found a way to live in the real world, but he has to stay medicated to do it. It's such an out there concept that I want to check it out.
I was about to say I saw that cartoon until you said medicated.
Yeah, exactly. One that Mike Spiderslayer, I'm sure you are looking forward to, most definitely from IDW, Jim and the Holograms #1.
Yes.
Truly outrageous.
Truly outrageous.
The Combiner Wars, Chris, from IDW. It's running
That
through all
I'm
the
looking
books.
forward to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Galaxy Quest is in 3rd issue of 4. I really enjoyed that first issue. I haven't read issue 2 yet.
I'm looking forward to. Mike's been reading John Carter. That's good. Birthright is another book.
Yeah. Volume 1 comes out in March, the first collection. So, John, if you have not read it yet,
It's the first 5 issues.
No, I've just read that first issue we talked about on the show once.
Yeah. So next,
we got so much better.
Yeah, next month, the Volume 1 comes out, so you should definitely pick that.
Oh,
up.
nice.
What is
Yeah,
it?
I'll
Issue
get
1
that.
through 5, or they're including 6 with it?
I didn't look up what issues were, and I've already closed it.
Okay. Either way,
So I'm not sure, but I'm sure it'll include at least the first 4 or 5 issues.
It's probably for the first 5.
Yeah. Which I think that makes sense. That's kind of an arc, thinking about the story. Convergence #0 comes out. I know. Princess Leia #1 and 2.
That's something worth looking into.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And,
Anything Star Wars.
Yeah, and of course, subsequent issues, Star Wars, and the Batman Arkham Knight series comes out. That's pretty much all I found, though. So
I think to add to yours, the Turtles. Obviously, I always look forward to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles every month. It's hard because I'm nervous about a lot of books, and then other books, it's like depends how the book's going in this month. But Invincible, I'm looking forward to that. Walking Dead. A lot of the indie books. I noticed the big two. It's like you just take each issue as it comes. Honestly.
Invincible is interesting because it's starting a new arc, and it's only 25 cents next month.
Yeah, that was another thing. Yeah. Spider-Man, I want to see what they're doing next with Spider-Man 16.1, obviously. Zenoscope, Grim Fairy Tales I'm looking forward to.
Got the Little Mermaid from that in March. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. There's that also. Other than that, really, like I usually go week by week now because it just depends how the book's going. Honestly, there's very few books I can say are on my. This is why I don't do the previews, because I don't know month by month which issues I'm going to be keeping, which issues I'm going to be dropping, because some go up, some go down. It's just the indie books I know, a lot of the ones I'm reading now are the constant.
Yeah.
Big two, I take and leave a lot of stuff other than Superman.
Yeah, it is hard. There are certain, I think I'm like you, there are certain books I know I'll get, but they're few and far between. And then all the other ancillary stuff, it's just, you gotta take it case by case. What about you, John?
There's not a whole lot for me either. I was kind of hit and miss on the new Hawkeye series.
Yeah.
When the single issues were out, I see they're coming out with a trade. So I'd kind of like to see that because I liked the few that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of drifted in and out of the story a lot. So that is of some interest to me. Yeah, I might hang on with Spider-Man and see what they're doing with 16.1. I'm just really not sure.
Yeah.
How much that's really going to do. I honestly think I'm going to wait for the Black Vortex stuff until trade, since they're so deep into it, and it sounds like another one of those things that's just going to be this giant pile on of stuff. I've liked the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that they put out, so I'm gonna keep getting that.
I think if it's got Mark Waid's name on it, you're gonna get it.
Well, yeah, honestly, not just Mark Waid, but I really love the show.
Right.
So, honestly, from DC, I don't want to even get started on Convergence or anything like that. There wasn't really a heck of a lot at all from DC that I thought I'd be interested in. Maybe a Mother box, but other than that. And really only if it really computes. Other than that, honestly, once again, throwing good after bad as far as messing with the movie covers.
Yeah.
I really don't know that many people are going to give a crap one way or the other about the movie covers.
I don't know, some of them were pretty cool.
Some of them are cool. There's some of them, honestly, with the Aquaman one, instead of having him touching the whale, I really thought he would take his trident, stab it or something. But yeah, scrolling through those, it's just honestly, DC has, consistently disappointed me as far as that. Now they do have that Flash season 0 is ongoing, and it's all the way up to issue 6 though, so that's another one I might wait on.
I've heard it was good.
I've heard it was good, but they're already well into it, so I might wait.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm kind of with Chris. I'm much more into the indie these days.
Yeah.
It's because they push us out of it. DC
really
are pushing us out with the prices and the story arcs and the overhyping of certain books, and then it just turns out to be like Spider-Verse, a fizz out.
Yeah. Honestly, it has because it's that thing of having a grand idea, but having, what Mike said a couple hours ago, that they just don't know how to execute it very well. Other than that, looking at Boom, the two books you mentioned look kind of cool. Not really seeing a heck of a lot else that really attracts me at Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever have you read Feather yet, John?
Feather? No, I haven't read that one.
It's an interesting book. I don't know if you'll like it, but Michael and I read the
I might check it out. Yeah.
Pretty good.
With Dark Horse, I think they just need to get off the all the extra Buffy and Angel and all that stuff. They're beating that poor horse to dead.
The series is good. Angel and Faith, I'm really enjoying a lot right now.
They do tend to be really good series, but they're just kind of it's overload. I do want to get the Grendel and Shadow hardcover.
Okay.
Just because two characters I've always really liked, especially Grendel. I was on the Grendel bandwagon way back in the day. And Matt Wagner, another creator that I don't think gets near enough play or credit for what he does. He's always really good when he's doing his own thing. Not much else there, although I was struck by the title Glee meets Game of Thrones. That one caught me for like half a second there.
Yeah.
Honestly, never been that much into much anything IDW is doing. Valiant is also kind of hit and miss for me here and there.
Before you jump to Aspen, that's the wrong link, by the way. I thought it was.
Yeah, I noticed that. Okay. I already closed it.
Okay.
It's like, nope, that's not Aspen. Although Aspen, they're coming out with these source books now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually had to go back order the Fathom one. Those interest me because I'm always really interested in the source books.
Yeah.
Even the one for Valiant, even though I'm not really that much Valiant person. Although I have been finding myself getting a little into Time Walker.
Really?
Yeah, for some reason, I've been catching it here and there, and I didn't know until I actually read the Free Comic Book Day source book that he was brothers with Armstrong and with the Eternal Warrior.
Yeah.
So
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it was a surprise to me, and that kind of made the story that much more interesting. Image, nothing. I got nothing for Image, honestly. I've never been on the Invincible bandwagon, and
you've never
honestly,
been on the
Image
Walking
these
Dead
days.
either.
Oh no, I haven't liked Walking Dead since like the first arc. But yeah, the thing with Image is it's just so all over the place anymore. I'm kind of interested in a few things they put out. I personally run a lot of Image press releases.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kind of found myself slightly interested in a few things here and there, but just they're all over. It's just crazy, you have...
I was going to just say, it's a bunch of series that they try out, and then the ones that really sell well are the ones they keep. The others, they just kind of end without people really realizing they're ending. They just disappear off the solicits, and then you get new stuff.
Yeah, I do like the fact that every single month they put out like 5 to 10 new #1 issues. It's a lot of stuff they do, but it's cool that they keep trying new stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely a proving ground, but it just seems so odd to me that they have something like Oddly Normal,
mm-hmm.
and then you turn around and have something like Birthright or Sex Castle,
right?
Or all those things, or Hack Slash. As much as I like Hack Slash and I like Tim Seeley, it's just strange that they have those things together.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's about it for me.
Okay. What about you, Mike?
Not to spend too much time on it. I was looking at kind of the Marvel stuff, and I was looking at Superior Iron Man. Really enjoying that series. I think it's well done. I think Tom Taylor, the writer, does a wonderful job with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, any of the Spider-Man stuff that's coming out, it'll be interesting to see what issue actual 16 is going to be about. And then you get that mini-series going in there. Then you have Silk and Spider-Gwen at that point, which I'm, kind of interested in, obviously. Then there's Spider-Woman #5. So I'm, looking forward to all those Spider-Man titles. And then, trying to see what else there was on here. And then, going forward into, DC, you got Convergence. I'm definitely going to check that out, obviously. The Zenoscope, which was that Little Mermaid thing. It'll be interesting to see how their take on that is. And Image is always we'll see type of thing.
Right.
You know, because you never know how their number ones are going to be. They're always up in the air. They're either good or they're not. You know, like I didn't hear anything about Birthright, but you guys keep talking about it. You say that it's really good. So when, you know, hopefully I'll get around to reading that soon. Yeah, nothing. I mean, same thing. You know, we'll see how it goes in March. Just to keep it brief there.
Cool.
So that's really about it.
Awesome. All right. So we are running way past what we were going to go, but that's okay. We started a little bit
You
late.
think?
Yeah. Hey, it's the first episode with this new crew. You know, we're having fun. So sorry to keep everybody late, but we will start to wrap things up now. We'll do what we do where we go around the table and tell everybody what's coming out, and going on, and let's try to keep it concise so we can get out of here. John, what you got? You go first this time.
Oh, thanks. I don't think I can talk about a lot of what's going on, can I?
You really can't.
Well, despite all the things that I can't talk about, which are really cool and I would like to talk about, but I can't.
Yes, soon, hopefully.
Yeah, right. Sure. I still have Rodney Fike is still hopefully in the midst, or somewhere near the midst of drawing my children's book Blue.
Cool.
Which will be really cool.
Speaking of which,
and interesting.
Can I give you a quick correction?
Yes.
Last episode you called it
peanut
butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly.
It's pudding
I know.
and jelly.
It's it's pudding and jelly. I know. I keep doing that. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised that. Good thing he didn't listen to the episode because he'd be all over me. But anyway, yeah, there's that. I still am interested in planning to revamp the old pulp character, the Woman in Red. And beyond that, and beyond the stuff I can't talk about, I of course still do stuff for Comic Related every day and post the sketch how-to videos. So I encourage people to check those out every day. Other than that, I'm officially a nerd fighter now.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know what that is, go look it up. And so, if you hear me say DFTBA or don't forget to be awesome at the end now, that's what all that is about.
Vlog Brothers, Nerd Fightarian.
Vlog Brothers, yeah, I'm officially a card-carrying nerd fighter now, so.
Awesome. All right. The funny thing is, the stuff that you can't talk about, everybody on this podcast knows except for Mike.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, so Chris, what do you got?
Well, other than the stuff that I can't talk about on this episode, at least yet, got reviews going up on Comic Frontline. This month has been my worst month of the year so far. I've been sick 3 weeks consecutively with only 3 days where I actually felt good. So hooray me. That's why the live shows have been late or canceled, and why my videos on my channel and everywhere else are kind of everywhere every different hour of the night because I have to wait till I'm feeling better. I'm sick as we're doing this podcast.
We can hear you.
But as this goes up, there should be some new games up on Frontline Gaming Zone, one that Mike's doing, one that I'm doing, but we're both bouncing off of each other during the video. And that's really, honestly, also, by the time this goes up, Mystery Box Mayhem will have begun on Comic Frontline. We got our first box today, actually, and we started that. That's going to be consecutively each month on Comic Frontline. My channel is just like Comic Frontline, the reviews, the live shows every Friday unless a reschedule happens. And yeah, until I can talk about the stuff that I can't talk about yet, that's all I have.
You can mention it's a podcast.
Oh, yes, thank you, Brant.
Mm-hmm.
It's a podcast. I decided to cancel as a live show. Brant and I talked about an idea. I'm going to keep it as a surprise. But when it does happen, it's going to be quarterly.
Yeah.
It's going to be a quarterly podcast. It's going to return to audio. It's going to stay as audio. It didn't go live yet.
Right.
It's going to stay as audio. And when I start, I'm going to need time to figure out who's going to be on it and how exactly I'm going to execute it. It's going to be once every 4 months.
Every 3 months.
Or 3 months, sorry.
Yeah.
And it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a short show, but there's going to be a lot of content to it. But I've got to work on it a bit. I liked Brant's idea, so I'm deciding to run with it. So the live shows are only going to be Dark Avenger Live. Epic Rewind Live, and
All Toys.
All the Toys, which is on Zone 4,
Right.
which is actually going to be the week that this is going live, but we're going to be doing that Thursday or Wednesday, Brant?
Thursday, I think, is what we said. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Whichever day, and that's a perfect segue for you because that's really all the news.
All right. Cool. But I actually will jump to Mike first. So.
Oh, I was segueing.
I know.
Why?
I always go last. What do you think?
Oh yeah, that's true. You do always go last. Also, check Twitter out, and you can see what boxes we're subscribed to for Mayhem.
Cool.
That's it.
All right, so Mike, what you got?
For you guys that do not know me yet, like I said, I have my own YouTube channel. It's called Comic Book Corner 2.0. You guys can check out all my individual reviews that I do on comic books each week. I also do a countdown series of my favorite comics of the week. I also do a Spidey Classics review series that's also featured on comicrelated.com as well. So you guys can check that out where I review all these classic Spider-Man titles. It's a really fun series to do. And then I do, obviously, a whole bunch of videos on Comic Frontline as well. You guys can check that out also. As for me, what's going on this week, it's always a week-to-week type of basis. Just stay tuned for the newest countdown, the newest reviews. And again, that's Comic Book Corner 2.0 or Comic Frontline.
Awesome. All right, so let's see. Is there anything I can? There's stuff I can't talk about too. So there's that. And,
what good is this segment if we can't talk
I
about
know.
Yeah, I was
it?
about to say, what?
Yeah.
Why do we bring this up when we can't
right,
talk about
I don't know
it?
because we want to tease. We want to tell everybody there's something coming that's really cool. That we'll
What
talk
are we,
about.
Dan Slott or something?
Yeah, exactly right.
It is highly classified.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, he does listen to the show.
Yeah, see?
But no. Next week, if everything goes according to plan, and John and I really have to talk and do some scripting here, should be the debut on the Zone 4 Podcast YouTube channel of Good More Noon Tonight, our parody news live show thing. So we'll see how well that goes.
Yeah, you're going to say that every day, too, because I'm going to tongue twist that.
Yeah, Good More Noon Tonight.
Good morning tonight.
I got it down. I'll do it.
All right, cool.
No, it's gonna be fun. So it's gonna be unlike anything else we've done through Zone 4. So look forward to that. Looking forward to having a blast. Excuse me, having a blast with that. Like Chris said, Hall of Toys next week. Hit Points will be the week after that.
Yep.
So look forward to that. We've kind of worked it out where there's some kind of audio podcast hitting the iTunes feed every single week, and almost a live show of some sort on the Zone 4 Podcast YouTube channel almost every week. So trying to get all that content out to you guys.
Once I stop getting sick, we'll have it consecutively and not have to keep rescheduling.
There you go. Yeah. I've also started doing a countdown series on Zone 4's YouTube channel. I'm 5 weeks in, which is kind of a record for me because I don't think my top 5 lasted that long. But I'm 5 weeks in, so check that out every Wednesday morning ish is when I've been posting them. So, and beyond that, just working on a lot of stuff as usual. Nothing solid to report at this time because, like we said, there's stuff I can't talk about. So there you go. But the Zone 4 website is back up. If anybody had trouble accessing it, it was down for me for a couple of days. So I know it is back up now. The programming schedule is up there. It will be updated by the time this goes live with the things that we changed in this episode. So there you go. So Mike, being the new guy, you want to read us out?
Yeah, I'll close us out.
Cool. Let's do it.
All right. So we'd like to thank the official bands of Zone 4, the Ray Wall Band and the Society Plague. That's the music you hear on the show each episode. We're also proud members of the Comic Related Podcast Network. You can find us on comicrelated.com, Comic Frontline, Stitcher, iTunes, and of course, zone4podcast.com. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions for us, send those to zone4@comicrelated.com. And as always, thanks for listening. You are now leaving Zone 4.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
TBA.
Good morning tonight.
Good morning. And what? No Tumblr and all that? That's on forehead?
Oh yeah, we do have that, don't we?
Oh, jeez.
Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr.
Tumblr? A very small Reddit page?
Yeah. Do we?
We have a,
I have no idea.
Twitch page then, right?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
And
yes.
a Snapchat.
We may have a Twitch page actually.
And
That's right. You
Snapchat,
don't even know what you do and don't have anymore.
I know.
That's right.
That's how much social media stuff there is these days.
I'm telling you, we've had a ton.
MySpace?
We've had a ton. We did have a. I don't know if we had a MySpace. I had a MySpace, but we did. We've had a Tumblr page for like 3 years, and I couldn't tell you the last time it was updated.
Years ago.
Maybe.
Obviously 3 years ago, yeah.
Swinging on a little thread, shooting spider webs from his hands. On the streets of New York City, he steps out to make a stand. He's Spider-Man.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.